do it over and over again. That's my life, over and 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 over.
Okay, Clay, I get the point.
No, you. That you love. And the only true justice was to let those dominant jackals feed on you, survive off you.
Hello. Oh, it looks like everything's coming through live on both channels. Welcome. This is a bit of a fucking landmark night. Not that many people are going to be here. I've got music on. Oh, I've got the Chilling Towns of Sewer Slot because I believe that's rights free still. I'll find out soon if I get a ding from my copyright managers. But I'm streaming on 2 channels at once, both at YouTube and on Twitch. So yeah, monumentous night as I try and take a step forward into this whole dual streaming game. And what better way to start it than with painting the Vecna Daemon prints we put together last week. I want to apologise to guys who were here last week on Twitch at least, because the plan was to get more of this done, but the weekend was just technical fault after technical fault, and I just did not have the mental for it. But we're here now. As you can see, I've spray painted it Corax white, and then I've given it a wash of Carrienberg Crimson just to pick out details and stuff. I've got the reference image in the top corner, I've got the colour wheel there, and yeah. Now we're just going to fuck around and see what we can get. I mean, mainly this is like kind of reds and blacks with some flesh colours for the burnt stuff. I think I might give it more of a Chaos Demon twist. I'm going to put metallics on it, like where there's obvious metallic rim. I might try and make those tendrils like a hybrid of like flesh and metal. Like I think that could look quite good, and then obviously that's going to be an Emperor's Children Marine there. That's going to go violently coloured just to set the miniature off a bit. So now we go. Right, right, where's my dollop brush? There's my dollop brush. Start with a bit of bad and black, because the plan is we're going to kind of dry brush in the recesses, just to give it that kind of, like, I'm going to like dry brush the model, give it that kind of burn feel. I need more bad and black. I'll order that. And then I'm going to kind of like try and like tease it out, because like the trouble with burn stuff is it's never consistent colors. So getting it consistent, yeah, looking like burn is going to be tough, but it's going to be fun. It's definitely a challenge I've never tried before. Sorry, I'm just trying to position my desk so that you guys can see everything. There we go. Yep, so there we've got palette. Also going to get a wet palette. That's also on the thing. We've got a whole bunch of Trench Crusade minis arriving some point over the next few days. So if we get through the majority of this in time, to be honest, I could probably not do the Emperor's Children Marine tonight and then do that in a separate session. But the basic plan, I'm not going to cover everything in the dry brush of black. It's mainly, if you look on the thing, it seems to be like the depth. Why I didn't base coat it black is because I find black, like, even though this is going to be a very dark mini, I wanted the light, I wanted a light base coat to work from, because it makes doing a lot of detailing on a model like this easier. I also just like the way red comes out on a white base coat, if I'm going to be honest. So I'm just kind of splodging it on. I'm not being... I don't need to be overly careful and picky, as long as like I don't have any white showing is going to be the main thing. This is like, you can just get it down in there, make it look really gnarled. I've left the banner poles unpainted at the moment because I'm not sure what I want to do with them yet. My plan is going to be, I'm just going to paint the model and then see what comes to mind as I do it. Because that way, like, I'm not someone who maps out like everything of a model when I do it. I've just never been that way inclined. Just does not do shit for me. Oh, it's looking good. Looking good on the camera. Oh yeah. The trick is making it look like he's been burnt and it's all regrowing in some twisted ick. Coming together quite nicely. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep mixing layers of red through it. So the bottom layer doesn't really matter too much if I don't get it super. Because like there are a lot of painters who will tell you, oh no, you need to be neat from the base layer, and it's like you don't, because each highlight layer you do, you're going to be sort of correcting and refining. So if your base layer is a bit messy, that's not too much of a problem, because you're probably going to, chances are you will cover it up in later layers. You know, well, that's my philosophy on it. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. That's looking pretty good so far. Maybe just a bit there on the butt. And that. Cool. Right, now we'll mix up the first layer. A proper clean. There we go. While we do that, we will mix the first layer. Not bad in betweeny colour, actually. That's a bit better. We'll do that and then we'll start layering in red. Okay. I use the big one for this one because this one's going to be quite big. Quite a lot of coverage on it. I'll not quite dry brush this. I want this more wet brush blending than actual dry brush. Yeah, that's looking nice. That's a really nice transitory layer. Again, this is going to come together quite nicely. Ah. Fuck you. Hey, it is indeed slorping time. How are you, Johnny? I meant to reply to your thing the other day and just completely fucking forgot. I literally just remembered it there. But thank you for being the first test on the actual stream. I'm getting both the YouTube and the Twitch through seemingly fine by the look of it. Oh yeah. Yep, this Ready Brown is looking. I like this. Again, it's just going in messily. El Pog. It is indeed. How's your exam prep going? Like, making people do exams before Christmas is just fucking... It's accurate. It's very accurate for this country. You are experiencing parts of Scotland that perhaps no sane outsider should ever see. That's fair. Damn, dude. Yeah, I mean, you're going back home after Christmas, so I can understand why you'd want it before then, rather than have to go back home, get settled back in, and then have to go straight into an exam. Would be pretty fucking craptastic. But like when I was in uni, I was just like, the Christmas cram was not fun. Because you're just like, ah, fucking hell. Ah. That's fair. That is entirely fair. Okay, yeah, that Ready Black's looking quite... Theory never bothers you. Oh, fucking assess. Oh, see, I preferred like coursework and stuff because at least then you get to demonstrate proper understanding. Like, to me, exams don't test to understanding because you're literally just memorizing shit that you know you don't need ever again beyond that exam. Like, exams are more like... I'd say exams are more like tests to show that you showed up to class and you memorized what was said in that class 3 months ago. Oh, that looks... Ooh, I like that. That's a spicy kind of red. Again. What we'll do is we'll use a smaller dry brush on it. Your home uni's not like that. Is it all just coursework stuff your home uni does? Ugh. Oh yeah. Actually, yeah, this one would work quite nicely for what I'm going to do. Things I definitely don't miss about uni life is like the coursework demand and the amount of bullshit you have to jump through. There's coursework and not much theory. Okay. Yeah, so basically, like, you're showing the theory behind the practical. You're like, you know why you do stuff, and here's the background as to why you do X, Y, and Z. I suppose we had that. Nah, like, the first couple of years of sound and audio engineering, it was very definitely a lot more practicals. And then as we got on, it was like much more theory-based shit. And it was like the theory-based shit was only really like, they could have easily split the course down into like the people who wanted to go on and do like programming and shit, like audio design and shit like that. And those of us who wanted to do more studio and acoustic-based work. Because like there's a lot of, like, I remember when I went to do my work experience, And I knew what the answer to the question I asked was, but I had to ask it as part of the coursework. Like, when would you use these equations? And like the guy I was shadowing was just like, we don't. If you know we hear a problem with phase, we just move the microphone. We don't sit and draw a diagram for optimal placement. We just move it till it doesn't sound shit anymore. Like, yep, that's what I thought you were going to say, but I had to ask it anyway. This is looking... Yeah, the burn effect's looking quite nice. Yeah. See, that's still the problem we've got here is like a lot of our like there's two ways you can do a degree. You can either do 4 years in a university, or you can do 2 years of what we call HND, which is like a higher national diploma, which tends to be a lot more practical and real world skills based, with some theory to back it up, so you know what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing. And then you can go into like the last 2 years of uni. And honestly, when you go into uni, you notice from an HND, you notice the skill gap between you and the guys who've been doing uni the entire time. Because like they'll be able to like reel off like equations and shit for you. In an actual live studio situation, if something goes wrong, they just kind of freeze up like, what do we do? What do we do? Because me and a friend found this when we went into like our first proper studio time of third year. We went in there and like all these other guys were looking at it like, what's all this do? Like the most basic stuff. Like when it came to like problem solving, our lecturer was like, you guys need to let the other guys in and learn this because, you know, it's part of the exam. And we're just like, it's part of the exam. Why didn't you teach them this in like first year? You're not really compatible with pretty much anyone. That's fair. And that can happen. Like some people just aren't wired the same. Oh yeah. What I'm trying to do is bring these redder bits up. What'd you do? No, like I'm glad I went and got a second honours, but at the same time, like a large part of me feels like the last 2 years were a waste of time, especially because like I remember like so much goddamn time I had to spend sitting and memorizing shit for exams, and I was just like, you know, like I stressed so much about memorizing shit because if you didn't memorize it, you failed the module. If you failed the module, you couldn't get into the next year. Yeah, the thing is, like, you've got to remember, like, you've been here, so like you've been immersed in that accent, so you know much more about how our inflections work. Like, you've actually heard spoken Scottish. Whereas, like, for someone who's not been here, they're going to be like, what's that? And you'll find it when you go home, because you'll find that, like, there'll be things that you're now used to saying that they'll just be like, so fuck that mean? What's that mean? And you're just like, give me a toasty. You know, it's fun. Sorry, I'll give you a sheet of all the formulas. Well, that's not so bad. This is what made me laugh, like, when people, like, we used to give they'd be like, oh, it's closed book exam. You know, in the real world, it's just like, no, in the real world, we can sit on Google and get the answers or ask someone else. Like, we don't have exam conditions. If we get stuck on something, you know, there are resources we can use, so closed book exams don't make fucking sense. Especially not with the justification of like, oh, in the real world. Oh no, shit, I moved that out. That was my bad, sorry. Did not mean to do that. Put that back in the frame. Yeah. Oops, his cloak snapped off. Oh well. Starting to come up. Starting to look a lot more like Vecna. Oh, there's some bits in there I need to hit. For prog exams. Yeah. Well, though human to human makes sense because, you know, they are trying to check your understanding. But making them, you know, fully closed book with this whole ass, no, you can't ask, you can't, you're not allowed resources because it's the real world. It's like, no, the real world, motherfucker. we can ask for help, and we do ask for help because no one can memorize everything. Oh yeah. I think what I might do is do like an orangey red, and just do a very light dry brushing on it. Yeah, that's fair. Well, the thing is though, like, again, like when I had to memorize complex formulas, it wasn't that I didn't know my stuff, it's just that we had to memorize so much fucking shit that I'd know what the stuff was, but I'd, you know, say or write the wrong thing. When in fact I knew what I was talking about, but I just had no fucking, you know, I just, in the moment I was like, that's not that thing. Ooh. Ah, there we go. Yeah. Yes. Why did you just at yourself? Did you at Johnny the Carrot? Did you catch this? You replied to yourself. Yeah. Did you reply? Yeah. Yeah. It's, and because OBS at the moment doesn't handle multi-streaming, I'm having to do everything through Restream. So I've got like a chat client up I'm not used to. Yeah, I did see that. So I remember you mentioning that. It's a good trait to have because it means it'll help you acclimatize a lot easier. You could end up anywhere and like within a couple of months sound like you're a native. In fact, I'm not going to do any more on the burn stuff for now, but I am going to start doing the metallics and the metal stuff to make it look more corroded. Because accent, chameleon. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, dude, like, that's a good thing. That's never, ever a bad thing. No, to be honest, we're quite a welcoming people anyway. You'll get rips for us, but not much else. Oh, sorry, just hydrating there. God, I was thirsty. Okay. Yep, that's in there. So that's... Doing a dry brush to get a very light metallic sheen on it. I can then use as a base and highlight up. Oh, ho, ho. I have to admit, I do enjoy doing these painting streams more because I feel like I'm a lot less dependent on the whimsical nature of the games industry. And I've got so much fucking stuff that I can paint and build for streams that I'm always going to have something. Rolling your R's. Aye, ball back. Also, like, using, like, instead of an A sound, using an E sound, so it's like Fitbe, or Fitbe. I can never get the sound quite right, but that's like more of a Glasgow, is it's like Fitbe, going down the footy. Hey. Oh. Yeah. Tea. Get to shop. What I kind of low-key want to happen, but I have no idea how to make happen, is I actually want to get this seen by the fucking Duffer Brothers. The guys who, you know, well, they created and written, they are Stranger Things. I'd low-key love them to see this because I know they're giant nerds. I've just got no idea how I'd fucking do it. Noticed on yourself. Oh, that's a very Scottishism. You got water. That's another one. Water. I'm not doing too much on this gauntlet because this is going to become fleshy. I'm going to do bits of metal on it, like this. It's not quite that for you. Aye, but it will if you're not here much longer, laddie. I do want to do these mechadendrites. The start of these mechadendrites is kind of metally before they become fleshy, or fleshy into metal. Ah. So when does you head back to the land of the bells? Yeah, Belgium. Someone told me once that Belgium literally means the land of the bells, and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. That's fair. What linguistic traits like the use of the word cunt as every form of language. Insult, greeting, abbreviation, comma. Ah. You eat your ball bag. Trying to get this. Belgium comes from Gala Belgica, which... Ah. That would make sense because, like, obviously because we've got our Celt and Pictish roots here, that more so than the rest of the UK we've kept in touch with. Well, apart from maybe Ireland, but Ireland is Ireland part of the British Isles, but is not part of the UK, which is an important distinction. I'm trying not to make this gold look too nice, but I also want to kind of pick it out so it looks kind of like a faded glory thing. Not looking on the camera. The dark L. Oh, L. Oh, hell. Hey. That's another one. All right into alright. Alright. Right. What, right? It's quite a unique one, that one. Oh, pow. That's another one. Pow. And also, nay to not to nay. Can you do it? Anyway, pal. Yeah. Whereas from us, it just sounds kind of natural. Ooh. Nah, that's feel, man. That's fair play, man. More than most would do. Mix a little bit of white in this because I want to get like a tiny highlight brush on some of it. Oh, that's looking... Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh, it's looking nice. You have two axes, general European and a UK one. To be fair, like, it's southern, like, I love it when someone say it's southernish, yeah, it's because you enunciate the way that, you know, like, if you go and sit in an English class and they teach you how to speak, it's usually, like, in that kind of false Queen's English way. But how now, brown cow, how now, brown cow way, you know, it's like traditional English or proper English as we were taught in school. Yeah. Yeah. So that's actually giving you advantage because it means you're not, you know how to converse in English rather than you've been taught how to converse, if that makes sense. Because like the way you're like, if you actually look at the linguistic rules of English, like not only do they not make sense, but we also break all of the rules at every available fucking opportunity. So it's like I know it's a really tough language for most foreigners to learn because our sentence structure isn't like most other languages. Ah, there we go. Now what we're gonna do? Carry on the bird scarring. Now we've got the metal in place. Go work on other classes. Yeah, that's fair, man. That's completely fair. It's working for you. When is it you head back to Belgium? I'm assuming before Christmas. December. Oh, fuck. How come they're sending you back that? I thought they would have had you back before Christmas. Or is it just because, like, you're needed there to, like, fill out paperwork and shit? Ah, that's fair. That's fair, then. Oops. I kind of screwed that up. Look at that. Do that. Feels like it's fucking Baltic out there at the moment. Nah, that's fair, man. That is fair. I was gonna say if you can hire a car, go up to Loch Ness. Loch Ness, I should say, because it's beautiful up there. Ah, you don't have a license. Yeah, in which case that's going to hamper you because there's not really much transport up that way, I don't think. Been fucking years since I've been up that way. Oh yeah, burn victim. That's fair enough, man. Yeah, like, we are a pretty progressive fucking nation. It's just, sadly, you know, it's the louder bigots that always fucking win out. Which always puts us, because, like, we have bigots here, like, there's no fucking hiding it. But, you know, more outwardly, we are a much more progressive nation than the rest of the UK. Which, again, has led to a lot of this fucking bullshit going on. And they wonder why we want to get out of the union. It's like, well, why should we stick around in an abusive relationship? because it's what it actually fucking is. There's no way around it. Damn. Yeah. No, like this is just it. Like Scotland actually has, like, we actually have what's called a digital economy in place. It means like we realize that like oil and shit is gonna dry up and gonna run out, assuming we ever get access to our own fucking oil again, which we probably won't. So we set up like, you know, we've invested heavily into like tech and creative industries, realizing, you know, that's where shit's gonna go. And it's paid dividends for us. And the problem is like the rest of the UK haven't fucking caught up yet. And now that they're starting to realize it, they're like, oh no, we can't let Scotland go because we need them to show us how to do the rest of it without charging us. And it's like, no, fuck you. This whole argument, new money versus old money pish. We want to. We're pushing for another referendum because every single thing that we were promised in the last, you know, in the last, like, don't leave the UK thing has been broken 4 times over. It's sadly not even an exaggeration. Not in Dundee. There. I mean, to be fair, like, they say Dundee's a city, but it's tiny. It's like a large town. How is that looking? Looking quite nice. Well, the EU don't, like, the EU have said several times they want us. Like, they've, like, the EU said when we first, like, Brexit happened, like, the EU were just like, Scotland, if you ever go independent, you're welcome in the EU. Because we have that progressive mindset. Right, I'm now going to paint in some of the flesh areas and some of the nails. Right. It's about like the last independence referendum was a pain in the ass because literally they tried every scaremonger tactic to get us to stay, and they then launched this massive PR campaign about how, like, you know, if we went independent, pensions would be fucked up, and that's what screwed the vote. Was like a lot of panicked pensioners thinking they were going to get their pensions and shit taken off them. Ironically, now most of that generation that were able to vote aren't here anymore. So it then sparks the question of what would a new referendum look like? Okay, let's get the flesh colour in there. But, you know, that's... Yeah. That's always been the way for us, though. Like, we've always, like, ever since we joined the Union, like, we have... Everyone in the Union is a second class to England. And that's not racism, it's not hyperbole or anything like that. It's a literal truth because it's not like each country has a fair vote. All the voting's based on population. So England, as being the country with the most population in the Union, means that they're the ones that, you know, more often than not get their way. Which screws the rest of us, because it then means there's 3 countries being held hostage to the wills of one. Yep. But again, it's not shocking because London, like, because of like even before the Channel Tunnel, like, London's the place where most people would end up. It's why it's the capital. But, you know, until we either get independence or someone actually comes along that can reform the system, we be kind of boned. Chances of either of those happening, not very high, sadly. Try to be very sparing with the flesh. Because our boy has been crispy fried. What tiny bits of flesh there are. That's working nicely. Hopefully we'll be able to force the next referendum through. That'll be, well, hopefully we'll be able to force the issue and get another referendum. That's going to be the first thing, even though we're legally entitled to one. Because of the deal laid out in the last fucking thing we did. However, you know, we won't stand up and take what's actually ours legally. We'll just go, oh no, please, England. Give us that thing you promised us. But hey ho, that's enough about the State of the Union. I love this bit because I can kind of go ham with where I want to put the actual flesh bits. Yeah. Yeah. We tried that one before and look where that got us. What, 500 years on and we're still celebrating a failed assassination attempt? Which again is the most ironically British thing. It's like the one time someone tried to speak up and get rights for all, and we celebrate the fact they got caught and failed. And that the monarchy won out. It's like, well, you know, cool. Shit. What we need is some Viva. Like, the scary thing is, like, I can see V for Vendetta becoming more and more like the actual blueprint of our revolution. Oh yeah. But we shall see. I honestly believe Judge Dredd's still going to be the fucking future we'll end up in. Totalitarian law enforcement. Oh yeah. Okay, doke, my dude. You have a good sleep. Good luck hitting the deadline tomorrow. Hopefully you'll get it in time. Always a pleasure chatting to you, my guy. Oh, let's carry on. This is going to be a tough bit. It's blending this flesh into the metal and then making it look... But blending it to bone is going to be easy. I will do, my guy. I'm doing one of my favourite things, which is challenging myself at painting. It's going to be getting the transitions looking right. This is kind of like an orangey brown. Man. If anyone's got any questions about what I'm painting or anything, please feel free to ask them. Because I'm happy to answer them if I can. Especially as we took a kind of political right turn there. As we are sometimes wanted to do on this stream. Muddy that up a little bit as well, actually. Aha! That's alright, dude. It's not like it's not like I minded discussing it, because it's like, it's always interesting to discuss with someone who spent time in the country, but, you know, understands the culture, but doesn't understand a lot of the geopolitics around it. Because I find it gives people a lot more of an insight, you know? I'll do is I'll dry brush back over the red to meld that gauntlet back in with the flesh. But for now, let's get the layers, let's get the flesh on right. Wales won't. Sorry for what I'm about to say for any Welsh people here, but this is just some facts. The majority of Welsh people are very, like, at least from what the rest of us see. So this is opinion, might not be fully fact. It's just, you know, based on our observances. The Welsh just, I don't want to say they're content. They're kind of, they're unhappy with their situation, but they don't seem to want to fight it. They're kind of happy, like, rattling the cage for freedom and hoping that they get given it, rather than actually going, no, we're not going to get anything, we may as well fucking fight for it. But again, like, that's just the perception the rest of us get, because you never hear, you know, much about what's going on in Wales. Like, and here's Wales. Yay! Which is kind of sad, because it's a beautiful country. Aha! I'm dry brushing it because it's easier to blend on this kind of stuff. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. But also, like, I like the kind of messiness with dry brushing for something like this. Because again, like, if you actually look, like, I went and looked at a lot of burn stuff for references on this. And it was, you know, like how it, like the various stages of healing and shit. I also just like the fact it just makes the demon prince look a bit messier. Because it do be a demon prince. All right, you have a good sleep, my guy. If you're going to have a wank, do it loudly. My advice. Unless someone else is doing it loudly, in which case you leave it to them. Or you use them as a cover and blame them for the noise. You know, you've got options. Oh, yeah. There's some more deepkin flesh in it, because it's kind of off grey flesh, which is quite nicer color. It's a nicer colour. As you can see, it just kind of goes in there like that. This I do want dry, because the other thing you notice about burnt flesh is when it heals, the moisture's kind of gone from it. Making sure I keep it under the camera. Oh! Look at that. Most pristine Emperor's children you'll ever see. Or member of the Emperor's children you'll ever see. Oh yeah. Probably gonna need to wash that. Just to sort of bring it back down. Because I don't want anything on this being too bright. Apart from the Emperor's children. Member of the Emperor's children is getting the life sucked out of him. Because I want that to be a contrast to this kind of dark, grimy, burnt mess of a demon. How's that look? Okay, now I'm going to mix red into that and use that for the kind of raw transition areas. It gives us that quite nice burnt flesh pink. I am just kind of winging a lot of this as I go, using the reference image up top for kind of like oh yeah, that's working nicely. Here we go. I kind of want that looking less fleshy and more gory. Like it just growed out of that face. Like this. Oh, there we go. That's actually that blend on that. Yeah, that's showing really nicely. Tendrils? Oh, yeah. Even just putting this in random places just to give it. Yeah. I might use some washes to try and further darken around a bit. I've got Reichland there, that'll work. Reconstitute that a little bit. Do I want to go another layer in? Okay, let's do it. Let's do a bit more deepkin in this. Just to get it that real pink hue. Like that. See it? On the palette there. And it's all looking good. Yeah, that last pink flesh shade on there is just bringing that out nicely. Even on the camera, like even though the camera looks like some stuff looks brighter than it is, some stuff looks duller than it is, but it's bringing it out nicely. Because that's going to be bone there. Let's get that prepped and picked out. If you look on the image, like the top of his head's actually like burned down to the bone. I do want to make this look like it's flesh technology and demonic ick all just flowing. How is that looking? It's looking good. Yeah, some gaps in there. I'm still gonna have to get let's get in there. Stuff like it's tiny, tiny gaps that just make all the fucking difference. I just have to give it a recess wash just to try and get everything again. Right, that's what we'll do. Using the old Reichland Flesh shade. Where's my shade brush? We are just gonna heavy hand it a little bit because it will tie this together. For example, pick out all the depth for me. Because now makes it look a bit less flat. Or it will do once it's dry. Because it will pool in the recesses. Across the rest of the model, I can just use it like that. Just kind of get in the gaps. Like the tiny, tiny gaps. It'll also, because it's a brown tone, it'll also enhance the red. Make it kind of tied together a bit more. And look at that, that's already like 1000% better there. Probably didn't need to heavy hand it that much on the gold, but screw it. I do want that kind of decayed, weather-beaten look. Do 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 do. The great thing about washes is you can either be like super pinprint with them, or you can just slap them on and you can get some really good effects from it. Do these tendrils before I brush up to the bone. Then gore the crap out of them. Doo-ba-doo. Look at that. And I was going to help pick out a lot of the detail that I've... Oh, the face. You want to do the face? So I'm going to do it once the wash has dried a bit. I'm going to start detailing the face. Ah, fuck. Ah, dead leg, dead leg, dead leg. There we go. So far, it's looking... I like it. I haven't worked out what colour I'm going to do that yet. We'll probably start mixing up the bone colour I'm going to need. For the teeth and the top of the skull and the claws. So for that, we're going to start with a dark brown. Fondia Brune from Games Workshop. Or Warhammer, as it's now known. Do 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 do. I've lost the brush I was using to detail. Ah, that's probably the one that got catapulted down to the floor. Da-da-da-da. It is. Always look after your brushes, chat. Right, so to mark out the detailed bits where I'm going to need the bone. There. Because I don't want to wreck the details, just put in there with the tendrils and stuff. Also want to do those little teethies. Little teethies. Oh yeah, claws. Oh, that's mainly buried in the dirt. Cool. Mark out this skull here. Da-da. Where is it? There it is. Carrick stone, because I ran out of the shafty bone. And I forgot to order some more. I'm also totally going to be doing some Shatterpoint minis soon. That is also next. That is also on the agenda at some point. Got the Ahsoka Tano and Vader set coming. Which will be fucking cool. I'm also going to get the Night Sisters, I think. Looking quite nice. I do love these Kolinsky Sable brushes. I'm glad I invested in them. Because the point on them's amazing. I feel like I should have done this on Christmas Eve when I could have like done it as a countdown to the new Stranger Things episodes. Oh yeah. Check it out. Give me a second. One of my chats is... Yeah, it's working. Thank you, by the way, for the people who have tuned in for this. You guys are fucking real ones. There we go. Cool. Right, now these claws and the ends of the tendrils I'm going to get a bit dry brush happy with, just because I don't really need to super detail them for now. And it's just a quick way of getting them done. Oh, like... Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Hey! Here we go. And it's going through. I do like my favorite faction, like in 40k, just in terms of like modeling and painting, is always going to be Chaos, because Chaos are just, it gives you free reign to just fucking go off, because there's no wrong way of doing Chaos, really. Because, you know, like, yeah, you could argue that any other faction you could do the same with, just go off and have your own style, but with Chaos, it's more so because it's like random fucking mutations from a hell dimension. Whereas, like, you know, if you're trying to convert up Marine, like, go crazy with Marines, there's only so much you can do because you've got to still try and keep them looking like Marines. You know, same with Tau, you can go crazy with the conversions, but at the end of the day, like, there is a design language there at the base you still need to, like, I suppose, depends, I mean, like, for me, because it's, like, tournament scene and whatever, or going down to Warhammer World, like I used to do a lot, and I'm planning to do more of this next year, you know, you still have to keep it within recognizably, you know, that faction, so that, you know, you don't try it, like, people can't accuse you of cheating, because there have been some fucking outright abuses of shit in tournaments I've seen. Oh no, I just converted it that way. It's like, no, that is modeling for advantage, my guy. Vehicles are not that long, fuck off. Hello, baby boy. How is the baby boy? The cage has just come next to me. No, for Chaos, as long as it's on the right size base, you can tell what the weapons are. You can just go fucking nuts. Now I want to do a light dry brushing on the skull plate and the teeth. Just start picking them out a bit. Because the areas are that small. Hello, baby boy. We must stroke the kitten. As is the law. The law, isn't it, Kit? That doesn't mean you come over, baby. No. Promise I'll give you a cuddle in a minute, baby cat. As you can see, I must placate the puss cat at every available opportunity. But if you do not, he will revolt in a hairy fashion. Because he is a kitten cat. Alright. This is like some precision fucking dry brushing to get this. Just go there. There we go. There we go. It's working. It's working, guys. Oh, Rostov killed the LCU. Uh, uh, uh. Do 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 do. Look at that. That's just picking the claws out. Do. I don't know if you can hear the music. Should be able to. But to be honest, that's not the main point of why we're here. Apparently for my artistic skills. Yeah, I think I might make this a 2-stream job, just to make sure I'm not, like, rushing anything or smashing up against time limits. Self-imposed time limits or the like, because... kind of cool, this. Oi, 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 oi. Mm, 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 mm. I hate this crust that builds up on these paint pots. It's just annoying more than anything. Alright, do that for a little bit of white. Because I want to give the bones... Oh, that's looking nice. I'm loving the way these mecha tendrils have come together. Apologies. I do need to get better about keeping shit in the camera. I should kind of forget the point of the whole thing, huh? That's working quite nicely. Aha. Ah. What I'm going to do is I'll do the eyes. Watch me fuck this up, chat. This is going to be interesting. You can see it on that. want a very, very tiny amount of this. I'm just going to use it to pick the eyes and the teeth out with. A bit better. Aha! I'm quite liking that. I think that's probably a good place to stop. Yeah. I think that's what we'll do. We'll call it for there. So thank you very much for coming and watching this first duel stream. Whoever you are, if you are new here and haven't done so already, please smash the follow/subscribe button. You know, do those things. They're cool. They really help out. Whether you be on Twitch or whether you be on the YouTube, I will get socials linked on the YouTube because that is something I need to do. Other than that, you guys, thank you very much for just being here and being awesome. So until next time, which will probably be Thursday, we'll continue more with the Vecna Prince. Oh shit, you come in literally as I'm saying goodbye. What a fucking... Oh, damn. Timed, Raven, timed. Yes, yes, yes. I will be back on Thursday doing more of this because there's going to be more I need to do. So love you all. Smash the YouTube follow, smash the Twitch follow.